Here in Philadelphia, and I go all the way out to California with featherweight Adam Lopez, who in a week, less than a week now, next Thursday night, takes on Luis Coria live on ESPN at the MGM Grand. Adam, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, very well. Thank you for asking.
Before we get into the fight, how did you make out in terms of obviously everything was shut down for a few months. How did you keep yourself busy, keep yourself in shape?
Yeah, I stayed out the gym for about a month. I stayed home. I just, went for little runs. Went to the park, ran around with my dog a little bit, worked out here in my garage. And then after about a month, the gyms were closed, but we have a private facility that we have access to. So they had someone go in there, sanitize everything, and then I started training there just about every day. And yeah, I've been in the gym for a solid 6 7 weeks.
Was it difficult? I mean, I was it difficult to try to get enough people in the gym in terms of whether it's your trainers or sparring or whatever to get the stuff that you need in a situation to get ready for a fight.
Well, Buddy's was back in Florida with his family, so I have my assistant coach Ivan, who's here. He lives in LA, so when I got back in the gym, he was in the gym already with me. Sparring wise, the first few weeks we didn't spar. Then once we put the word out, we weren't sure if we were gonna get work, and then out of nowhere, work just started coming in like crazy, and we were sparring almost every day for this camp for a solid 3.5 weeks. So we got the work in. I got my rounds in. Um, we had about five sparring partners that were willing to work whenever we needed them.
Obviously, everything starts off Tuesday with the Shakur Stevenson's fight. But you're going to be part of the second show. Did you think that you would be one of the first fighters out of the gate to be showcased?
I kind of had a feeling. I started hearing word, fights are going to start coming back in June. So I took May to, start getting in decent shape. Once I started hearing the word, I was like, okay, I'm going to start training. Once I get this phone call, I might only get 4 weeks to the fight. So I got to get in decent shape to where 4 weeks is all I need. And that's exactly how I planned it out.
It's funny you say that 'cause I was asking a lot of fighters how long would it take, and most of them said they'd be ready 2, 3, 4 weeks. And you know, uh, hopefully a lot of fighters are following what you just said there, because fights and opportunities are probably going to come fast and furious. Obviously, this is your first fight since your fight with Oscar Valdez, a fight where you dropped Valdez during the fight, and you did a heck of a job in that fight before falling short. Have you been thinking about that fight a lot? You know how close you were in that fight.
Yeah, I caught myself a lot during this camp thinking about it. But I think it affected me the way I didn't want it to. I started thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go in there and do the same thing I did to Valdez, everyone else. But Buddy explained to me, he said, you're now a marked man. People want your spot. They want to be where you're at. So these kids coming in here to spar with you, you might be trying to just work on things for the fight, but they're gonna treat it like a fight. They're coming in here to take your head off. So he's like, you need to elevate your game just that much more, because you're a marked man now. People want to be where you're at. These young fighters are searching for an opportunity, the opportunities that you're getting, and you're taking advantage of them, but you can't don't get comfortable in there.
I mean, you find that like ironic. Most times when you hear that, it's usually a fighter coming off the upset. Obviously, you felt just a little bit short that night, but how much it elevated you in terms of the fighters, in the featherweight division.
Yeah, I mean, now I that kind of just confirmed that I got what it takes. I always knew I had it, but that fight right there, taking it on a day's notice, not having the best camp. I only sparred about 2 weeks for the fight, and I went in there just trusting my ability and knowing that I was going to do my best to show the world what I got. And I got a lot of eyes on me now. I know the featherweight division is, they understand who I am and how I'm coming, and I'm ready for a fight, and I don't turn down no fight, so I'm ready to go. But Yeah, definitely got more eyes.
And wasn't that fight at 130? It was that fight at
Yeah,
130. And
I
so,
was.
how much more comfortable are you at 126 compared to 130?
Um, I mean, I still weighed in at 126 for the
Mm-hmm.
fight, made weight for my fight. So I didn't really get to see what I felt like at 130, but I'm sure, not cutting those last 4 pounds gives you a little bit more energy, a little more strength in there. So I guess we'll just find out once eventually I grow into 130 very soon. Hopefully, maybe in a year, maybe two. We're just going to take it how it goes.
Fast forward next Thursday night, taking on Luis Coria. To talk about him, what can you tell me? We'll give the Adam Lopez scouting report on Luis Coria.
He's a tough young kid, I've seen a few of his fights here and there. I'm not one to watch a lot of tape on my opponent. I like to see, maybe a round or two, see what his style is, see what he likes to bring to the table. He's a tough kid, he likes to come forward. He got that Mexican style to him. In my eyes, it seems like he tries to fight like Mikey Garcia all the way around. And in my opinion, it's not a good idea to try to fight like someone else because what works for someone else might not work for you. But to each his own. I'm gonna take him like, this fight's more important than the last one. I'm gonna take this fight very seriously.
It,
I gotta show this kid what I could do.
it's amazing. Korea's 21 and you're 24. You're calling him the kid. So that's I don't know how many opponents in your young career that you called the kid, but you have you're 3 years older than him. You mentioned that he's with Mikey Garcia or tries to fight like Mikey Garcia, and he's I believe in Mikey Garcia's camp coming on a three fight knockout streak. I mean, do you feel this is his big opportunity?
It's his biggest fight for sure. I don't think he's faced anybody with my opposition. I've looked at his record and who he's fought. I mean, I'm sure he's fought some tough kids, but this is definitely his biggest test, and we're just gonna see if he got what it takes to bring it up to that next level.
Obviously, you proved that you can compete at the highest level with your fight with Valdez. Valdez now moving up featherweight division. Where what does it? Where does Adam Lopez fit in the featherweight division?
I'm gonna make space for wherever I gotta be at. People know who I am now. Like I said, um, my next goal is to get ranked after this fight. We got the NABF title on the line, so
Mm-hmm.
hopefully I get top 15, top 10, right around there, and start knocking on the door for a world title maybe next year. Shakur might move up, and if he does, that opens up the division for Adam Lopez. I know there's some other big names. We got Michael Conlon, Jesse Magdaleno. We got all. There's featherweights out there that I think it would be great fights with myself, and I believe I got what it takes to beat each and every one of them.
You mentioned those guys are with Top Rank. I mean, did you specifically just say those names because fights with those guys could be easier to make?
Yeah, I definitely think they're easier to make. Us being with the same promoter, it's easier business. But I mean, any other featherweight out there, I'm not looking away from nobody.
Do you? I mean, I know Josh Warrington. He's one of the champions, like you said. Shakur, Leo Santa Cruz. It sounds like he may be moving up to fight, maybe even at lightweight Gary Russell. So yeah, like you said, the featherweight division is stocked. Talk about how you got into the sport. Obviously, not much was known about you before last November. Talk about it. I know you come from a boxing family. Your father was a fighter. To discuss that, talk about growing up around the sport.
Yeah, my dad, he was a silver medalist in the 1984 Olympics. Hector Lopez turned pro. He had about 50 pro fights. He fought for a few world titles. So growing up, that was my idol. Watching him in the gym, watching him do his thing on TV. So me, just as a young kid, saw my dad doing it. In my eyes, I always knew that's what I was gonna do, and I loved every bit of it. Um, my mom didn't feel the same way.
Mm.
She did not want me or my brother to box. She put me in every single sport out there except for boxing. But once me and my brother got to a certain age, we just told her like, "Hey, mom, like we want to do it. Like this is what we've been wanting to do. Like let us give it a shot." So fast forward a little bit, she let us train once a week. Hopefully, it would get out of our system and we fall in love with some other sport. And I loved other sports. I love football and basketball, and I was a great athlete at everything.
Hmm.
But something about boxing just brought something, some feeling that I can't get from nothing else. Being in there, moving around, and just it just felt natural to me. It came very natural to me.
Literally and figuratively in your blood.
Exactly. It was something that I knew I was gonna do since a kid. Um, Me not living with my father, he was incarcerated for the majority of my life. Um, so we kept in contact, phone calls, letters, this and that. But he passed away when I was about 15, so I didn't get much time with him. So for me, it's now like I want to carry on this dream for him, this legacy, carry on his name. I want everyone to remember who he was and what a great person and great fighter he was. But at the end of the day, it's me going in there. I'm putting my life on the line, and I'm doing this for myself as well.
These fights are going to be taking front of uh, crowdless fights. Fights you're going to be fighting in a ballroom with no fans, just your team and some of the essential people around the promotion and whatnot. Have you thought about what that's going to be like? And there's something. You'll probably be able to hear his corner, not only your corner yelling at you, but his corner yelling at him. Talk about that aspect of it.
Yeah, I kind of ran it through my head a little bit. It's definitely going to be a little weird at first, but once the shots start flying and he's trying to take your head off, I think the fight mode kicks in real quick. It's just something we got to adapt to. Hopefully this doesn't last very long, and we can get back to regular boxing and get these fans in there because that's what brings the energy. That's what we need. We need a good core fan base, people that love you and cheer your name no matter what. That's what we really need. But for now, I'm gonna take it for what it is. I'm gonna just make the best of it and go out there and do my best.
With the Top Rank and the ESPN series being the only game in town for now, how important is it not only to just win, but really make a statement because there's not three or four other cards going on the same night like there usually is, and so forth. You are going to be thrust in the spotlight, but you in the main event, Shakur and his card is on Tuesday. So by next Friday, next Saturday, if you do what you're setting out to do, you could there'll be more talk about you. Have you thought about that? You don't have to
Yeah,
share the headlines with anybody.
yeah. People they want to see something. They want to see some sports, whatever's going on. And this being, boxing's first week back, Shakur got a big fan base. He's a great fighter. He's gonna bring a lot of eyes on. And then we got Jesse Magdaleno as my main event, and I'll be the co-main event. So next week it's huge. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. We're gonna have a lot of viewers and a lot of eyes on the TV. But for me, I try not to think about it too much. I just treat it like another fight. I'm going in there, I prepared. I did everything I had to do. I'm going in there and I'm gonna do my best, and I just hope everyone enjoys the show.
You mentioned that you're sharing the car with Magdaleno. Will you kind of get out to ring? Well, I don't know if you can get out the ringside with not letting people in, but how are you going to be watching that fight closely? I mean, do you think there's more than meets the eye? How you two sharing a stage together? You just said you didn't call him out, but you say he's a guy you would like to fight, in the near
I mean,
future.
we're in the same division. We got the same promoter. It's definitely a possibility. Jesse's a great fighter. I have much respect for him. Yeah, I mean that'd be a great fight for the fans. We both got a good fan base, a great fighting style. He's very exciting. I'm very excited. That could definitely be down the line for a title shot, title eliminator, whatever the case is. It could definitely be a possibility.
Tremendous stuff from Adam Lopez. Last couple questions here. What do you want to say? Well, first of all, before I ask you what you want to say in closing, obviously you've gained a lot of fans in the last 6-7 months. Where can those fans follow you on the social media networks?
Yeah, I got an Instagram. It's Blue Nose Lopez. Twitter, Adam_B_Lopez. Facebook, just you can look up Adam Lopez. Those are the three main ones I really use. But Instagram is definitely the one where I update most of my fans of what's going on and what's happening with training and the next fight, which is Blue Nose Lopez.
How many followers did you kind of get after the Valdez fight? Did you kind of
Uh,
explode a little bit?
yeah, after that fight, I think I got like 2,000 in about a day.
Wow.
It kind of blew up real quick, and it's still climbing.
Well, what do you want to say to the fans in closing before we see you Thursday night, the MGM Grand, live on ESPN?
Just be excited for another great show. You know, I'm gonna go out there and perform and put on a great show like I always do. I'm entertain you guys with my great boxing style, very entertaining. I know you guys love what I could do. So tune in next week, June 11th on ESPN. I'll be the co-main event against Luis Coria.
Thank you, Adam, for a few minutes of your time. We'll be watching great stuff from you, and we'll be following you along the way.
Thank you. I appreciate